Hello, everybody. Let's see, like 12 people here. Whoa, somebody turn off their speaker or something. If you don't have a webcam, totally doesn't matter. Not important. Even a microphone doesn't matter as long as you have some speakers and you can hear what's going on. If you want to, you can participate in a little chat thing. I have that open. So if you click on the bottom down there or hover over the bottom of the Zoom screen, it says chat, and then you can type a question in there. Looks like there's supposed to be 42 people here, but we've only got 13. 42 seems like a lot. So everybody knows this session is being recorded and all Zoom sessions will be recorded, and then I'll be posting them on YouTube. So then if these people who aren't here want to hear what we're talking about, then they can get the same information as everybody else. Because I know a couple of people have classes that overlap with this class, so they won't be able to make it on Mondays. Okay. So let's do, what do I want to do first? Let me kill that. And then let's do introductions first. So you guys can't see my page, right? All you guys are looking at is me?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I want to share. I'll share that. Are you seeing a large boat right now?
Yes.
Okay. So after I graduated from high school, I joined the Navy. I was an electrician that worked at a nuclear power plant on that boat right there. And that's us going through the Suez Canal. So if you're ever wondering how wide the canal is, now you know. It's not very wide. So then after the Navy, I went to undergrad and then went to grad school. And in grad school, we did atom smashing stuff. So this is a little piece of gold foil. This is sort of just something for fun that we did at the end. And these pieces of equipment around the exterior figure out what happens when we slam atoms that are moving near the speed of light into other atoms. I like to play Ultimate Frisbee.
Mhm.
A kiteboard. That's me. Where is that? Lyle, the Lyle spit. Like the mountain bike. That's Post Canyon. Although that jump doesn't exist anymore. They've changed it. It's a little more fun actually now. I like to play lots of games. And there's me and my oldest dog, who's now, well, I think she's 15 now. And this is me and my wife and my daughter. And there she is again. Stop sharing that if I can figure out how. Stop sharing. I'm the department chair here at the college. In just 1 second. Penelope, you gotta get out. You gotta get out. Thank you. 1 second. Yeah, sorry. So let's see. This is my 17th year here. I think it's my 17th year here. Sounds about right. The department chair for science, I think for the second or maybe the third time now. Also, luckily for you guys, I'm also the person that's completely in charge of Moodle for the whole college. So if any of you have a problem with what's going on with your Moodle, you can ask me and I can try to help and fix that. And if your instructors are having problems, you can have them contact me or you can tell me they're having a problem and I can get a hold of them. All right, so let's move on as far as this class goes. Let's do the syllabus. All right, I guess I gotta share the syllabus first. Back here. Share syllabus. Share. You guys aren't seeing. Are you seeing the syllabus now?
Mhm.
All right. Okay. So this class is winter 2020. It feels weird to say 2020, but that's where we are. 4 credits. It's online. We're going to be doing these web meetings in the evenings on Wednesdays or Mondays and Wednesdays. I'll have tutor time in Hood River at those times there on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 4:30 and 4:30 to 5. That's in the basement of the Hood River campus. There's my email and my phone number. Phone number, you'll probably never actually get a hold of me. Emailing me is best, or using Moodle Messenger is best. It is also just as good. We're going to be using the 7th edition of this Chemistry in Context book. There's like 2 more new editions, maybe 3. So I found this online on half.com for shipping. Yeah, that's the book right there. Samantha's holding it up. It was like $3 shipping to get it sent to you, media mail. So not expensive. Use either one of those ISBNs. You're going to need a periodic table, and then you're going to need that home chemistry lab kit. So we literally just finished putting that thing together on Friday and today. So if you haven't gotten that, go to the bookstore and pick one up because you're going to need that during the course of this year. All right, so this is mostly a class that deals with everyday topics, mostly running around what's happening with some climate change stuff and renewable energy and things that happen that humans have done to the environment in general, not just climate change stuff, but other things that are bad. So we'll talk about some situations that we have put ourselves in, and by we again I mean humans. And we'll probably talk about a few movies because a few of them have done a good job of describing those situations. The intended outcomes for this class are going to be for us to be able to communicate effectively. So in science, if you can't communicate what you did, then you didn't do it. Can anybody tell me who invented calculus? That's a little off topic, but nobody? It's like 15 people here. Nobody. The answer is usually Newton, and that's a perfectly acceptable answer. The problem is he was about the 5th or 6th person to invent it. So why did we have to reinvent calculus 6 times? Because the first 5 people didn't tell very many people, or they didn't tell anybody at all. So great, we knew what calculus was, but since nobody was told and nobody wrote it down and it wasn't saved, then it doesn't matter. So what I'm saying is if you can't communicate, then whatever it was that you did is effectively useless. So we'll be doing a lot of writing as well as reading and listening, of course. So I would also hope that we would get some critical thinking skills out of this. So you're going to be doing this in your, I'm not there. I'm not going to be in your kitchen helping you out with this, or your garage or your living room, wherever you're going to be doing this chemistry lab. So you're not going to be able to ask me questions about these things. You can, but it'll be asynchronous. It's not like I'm going to help you instantaneously. So you're going to have to figure stuff out on your own. And so that's the critical thinking part of this class. That is that intended course outcome number 2 about critical thinking and problem solving. That's the #1 thing that employers want. Somebody wants to hire somebody, they want you to be able to figure stuff out on your own. They don't want you coming to them every 15 minutes asking them how to do something. Quantitative literacy. So this is about you being able to read something and determine if that thing that you're reading is valid or reasonable or just a lie. When somebody tells me something like they read this or they heard this or whatnot, my first response to them is, what's your source? Why is that important for me to ask that? Somebody want to unmute their microphone and answer?
Is it so you to see if the source is valid? Yeah, that would.
Okay, what do you mean by valid?
Maybe reputable is a better.
I like reputable. Okay, so let me give you an example. About 7 years ago, this study put on by scientists came out and said that using this particular type of new Listerine was just as effective as flossing. Does anybody want to believe that? I mean, you'd like to believe it, but does anybody think that's actually true?
No.
No.
Just because it comes from a scientist doesn't make it true, though.
Yeah,
How
well,
many test subjects have they done? And,
I'd like to see their science.
sure. I
Yeah.
want to see the science. My first, as soon as I read this, it was like a headline from USA Today. I read it and was like, okay, where's the paper? Because I want to know who paid for it. So who do you think paid for it? Who do you think paid for that science?
Listerine.
Listerine Corporation.
Yeah, Johnson and Johnson, which owns Listerine, paid for it. So instantaneously, you're suspects. Like, I'm sorry, you were paid to say this. Is really what it turns out to be, and it is. They've done studies on it since then, and no, sorry, it's not nearly as effective. Who do you think freaked out when that hit the news wires? Dentists like lost their minds. Like, no way. Is this possibly true? But they all knew it wasn't. Okay, so the next thing for an intended outcome would be, let's back up a second. So on that third one, what I'm expecting is for you able to read something and immediately determine, is this source and this information, does this make sense? Or is this just kind of BS? Is this not actually true? Is this like the Listerine example? All right, so the fourth one is cultural differences that we're going to be seeing within chemistry. So there's a huge variety of different things that can be happening across the world, and culture plays a huge difference, or plays a huge role on the differences that people put forth with the work that they're going to do. So some places it might be very, very wrong to do one type of research, and in another place doing that kind of research seems totally normal. And so we'll be addressing those kinds of issues. And then the last and probably the most important one here is, what are we doing to the planet? That's how is chemistry helping the planet? How's chemistry not helping the planet? And we'll talk about that a lot. This textbook talks about it a lot. I'll talk about it a lot. We'll talk about things that are in the news a lot. So there'll be a lot of that going on. I'm expecting you to log into the course, several times a week. These meetings are live, but they're not. I'm encouraging you to do them, to come to them, but they're not. You don't have to. They're going to be asynchronous for some of you. Late work. I mean, you're going to lose points when you turn stuff in late, but you won't get 0 credit for turning it in late. And there isn't any extra credit, so don't bother asking. Just work on the credit. Have 11 weeks to do this. Okay, so how I'm going to grade. You will be graded on forum postings, on the reading notes, on quizzes and labs, and that's it. There'll be, well, actually, I should say quiz. Quiz? Why doesn't it say exam? We're definitely taking exams, so exam should be in there as well. We'll run through everything you're going to see on Moodle when I get over to that. The tasks themselves, like every single point is exactly the same. So if you miss a point on a quiz, it's exactly the same thing as missing a point on a forum posting. The items themselves are weighted based off of, so like forum postings are worth less points than the quiz is, that kind of stuff. And then the grades are what you would expect. Anything over 90% is an A. Anything in the 80s is a B. 70s is a C. Anything less than a 60 is an F. Okay, so we're going to have one quiz, and that quiz is going to be worth 20 points, and you're going to need to get it done by Sunday. And it should take you maybe 30 to 45 minutes, maybe only 15 minutes if you're a quick reader and typer. So the forum postings, they're going to be 10 points per week, 10 weeks, 100 points.
Is the quiz this Sunday, you mean?
Yeah, like with this first week of class.
Okay, just clarifying.
Yeah. I want you to pick a question out of the textbook. at the end of the chapter, and then type that question number in your subject line, the title of the post, and you'll get points for that. And then you need to go answer somebody else's question. So each of you will be posting these questions, and then you'll go in and answer a question that somebody else has posted. All right, so we're going to get really specific about what this SQ3R thing is, but really what it turns out to do is it's a way to read a section of text in a very reasonable, methodical method, in a way that will allow the reader to retain what it is. Most studies show that if you're reading something, you only retain between 15 and 25% of what you read. I don't know how many times you've read something and then you know you read that book, and then somebody mentions something in that book and you're like, I don't remember that part. And then they talk about it and you're like, oh yeah, I do remember that. So this is a way to help that, make this a much higher percentage of the information that you're reading. So you're going to end up, we'll go through it super clearly, but these are going to be worth 320 points. So this is the bulk of what you're going to be earning in this class, is on these SQ3R reading notes. So we're going to have exams. There's going to be 4 exams. They're going to cover 2 chapters per exam. So we'll be doing 8 different chapters. And the questions are multiple choice, true and false matching. Some of them are open-ended. And then the labs. So you're going to have 8 labs. And so the labs and the exams are both going to be worth about as much as the SQ3R reading notes. And you're going to need that kit that we have that's going to be at the bookstore. And yeah, that's that. Okay, so the stuff that the college has us put on syllabus is, don't cheat. If somebody has a disability of some kind, then you need to get a hold of me right away so that we can set everything up and make everything well for you. No discrimination in this class. If I see anything weird going on the forums, somebody's just going to get banned from the classroom, so be nice. The flexibility statement shouldn't really affect us. This is usually weather related. So the reason that we're teaching this class during winter term is for obvious reasons. We missed, I think I missed 5 class periods last winter term because of the snow that happened in February and early March. Again, the accommodations thing, this alternate assignment stuff, this has got to do with the ADA statement about students with disabilities. So get a hold of me as fast as possible, and just so we can get that taken care of. And then if any issues with student support, you can contact Shana Dahl at Student Services. And here are the 2 addresses for the college. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about the syllabus? You can either just talk or...
I have a question about the online kits, or the at-home chemistry kits.
Yeah.
Is it new each time? Because somebody gave me theirs that they had used previously. They just put in some new things that they had used, but it's the same stuff from the kits. Is that okay to have a used kit? Do I have to buy a new kit?
I honestly can't remember exactly what I put in the kit last spring. So...
Are they pretty much the same experiments?
Pretty much. This kit, I made it easier. So it should probably be, what I mean by easier is some of the things that were in that kit, because it was a generic kit from a company, and we decided that was not a good way to do it, so we just made them up ourselves. There's some stuff that is kind of missing in those kits, and it's just more well organized in the way that we're doing it now. But
more streamlined.
Yeah, honestly, I cannot remember if they're exactly the same or not. But
I got it for free, so that's why I kind of hopped on that boat.
Free's the best.
Yeah.
The textbook that I use for the other chemistry class is free, so that's what less is better. Less money is better.
Yeah.
You know what? You've got 11 weeks here to do 8 labs. So if you're using that kit and you come across something that isn't working out for you, let me know and we can figure something out.
Okay. I mean, everything on here, for the most part, is stuff that I can probably get here in town, other than, some of the actual chem stuff. But
yeah, I don't think you
can
can
get most
get
of this stuff at Fred Meyer's.
The universal indicator is definitely not going to be at Freddy's.
Yeah. Yeah. Those type of things. But I mean, baking soda, tap water, vinegar, matches, those sort of things. I can get
I
all
think there are
those things.
3 things that you wouldn't be able to get your hands on that are in this lab, or overriding the labs. So, are you in town?
Yeah, you're local.
In Hood River or the Dalles?
Oh, the Dallas, sorry.
Okay. So maybe we can just get you some at some point if you can't
Okay.
find what you're looking for.
Okay, appreciate it.
Yeah. Anybody else? Syllabus questions?
Yeah, I got a question.
Go for it.
So you and I had spoke via email last term, and you suggested a kit online, and I purchased it, and I'm assuming it's the same one that you were just talking about, that it wasn't really working out, and it was maybe missing things or something.
Maybe. I don't remember this conversation.
Okay. I had emailed you because I live in Sweden, and it's really hard to get stuff over here.
Oh.
Chemicals are controlled.
Yeah. This kit is a little bit different than that one for sure.
Oh, crap.
I think since you haven't done anything yet, I think you might be able, haven't used any of it. I think you might be okay, and we'll work around it regardless.
Awesome. That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
Sure.
And then the other question, of course, is the Zoom meetings. I mean, I just traveled back from the U.S. the day before yesterday, which is why I'm awake at 3 a.m. right now. But I probably won't be awake at 3 a.m. every Monday and Wednesday.
You do not need to come to the meetings. I'm again recording these things right now, and they will be posted on YouTube, so you can.
Perfect. I assumed you were just being really polite that not everybody would make them, but I'm going to make 0 of them.
Understandable.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks.
Sure. And so everybody knows when I'm sharing a screen, I can't see who's talking unless you're one of the people who are using their webcams. So, yeah. Anybody else? Anything? No. All right.
There's something on the chat.
Okay, Brenda. All right, so now, what else do we want to talk about? I don't know what that is. Probably don't need that anymore. Oh, let's go to Google. Share that.
Are you using the same book that you used the last time you did this online course?
I am, yeah.
Okay, good.
Are you guys seeing the list of people in the class?
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty, so if I have any announcements or whatnot, they're going to be here. And when these announcements get posted, you should get an email. It should go to your college email. If you're not checking your college email, you should be checking your college email or forwarding your college email to some other email. I know the college email is bad. We're working on making it better. It's not easy to get to, but at some point in the near future, or hopefully they can have that fixed. So make sure you run through these 3 rules. You won't break anything. Click on everything. Get all these boxes checked. Watch this calendar thing over here. Let you know that what's coming up and whatnot. It actually doesn't look like I've done a very good job of. No, like, all right. So this calendar isn't completely correct right now, but I'll make it completely correct by tomorrow afternoon. Here's the syllabus that we just went over. I see you guys most of you, or many of you, half of you at least, have posted why you're in this class. This Moodle orientation video, when you watch that, then you'll get a little checkbox here. Some of you have probably already seen it. This is the course content and outcome guides. These are the things that we're going to be covering in this class that if you take a Chemistry 100 class, then you will, it'll be the same for, or anywhere in the state that you're going to take this. There's some pictures that are chemistry stuff. These are some chemistry videos I have on YouTube, some science stuff, student help desk. This alternate formats thing is talking about if you can't read a PDF or look at a Word document, it will help you figure out which format will work, or you get a format to work for you. And then this instructor info, that's just about being able to get a hold of me. Okay, so let's talk about this. Well, this is a section where you're going to do the 8 different chapters within the first 8 chapters, how many pages each chapter is, and then what it is that you're going to be doing, which is this SQR3. We'll go over that in a minute. And this is where the web meetings are. So you're going to, if you have any questions or whatnot, you can click and ask questions in here. And this, what happened last time I taught this class, this is the only second time I've taught this class online. People would click in here and they would say, hey, I'm not going to be at the meeting, or I'm going to be at the meeting. Can we talk about this? And then I have, I know what I want to talk about before we get to the meeting. And then this little playlist right here, this is going to take you to the playlist of all the Zoom meetings that we've recorded thus far. This quiz, it looks like I have it due not on Sunday, but on the following Friday. All right, so we've got papers. And so I want you to post the topic for your paper week 5. And the paper that you're going to be doing is 1,000 words. And it's going to be, you need to write a paper about a substance, like a chemical that has done something to the environment, either a good way or a bad way, but something that humans have done using chemistry to affect the environment. You need to follow these rules about fonts and whatnot, and you're going to need 3 sources for your paper, and I want those sources cited in MLA format. And if you're not sure what MLA format is, you can Google it, or we can talk about it later. Okay, and so here are the forums, and so you'll post, looks like somebody's already posted a question. So it looks like Kayla posted question number 1 out of chapter 1, and so she's got a question for somebody to answer. So you read this, and then she's going to get 5 points for posting that, and then somebody's going to get 5 points for answering that. Thanks, Kayla. And then we come down to the labs. So you're going to need to watch this lab safety video, and then I'll know if you don't watch the lab safety video. It will tell me, so make sure you do that. And then this is just a place you can get the labs, and this is a place for me to grade your labs when you submit them. And the exams are here, and so then, well, that's not ready yet. I haven't changed the dates yet. So this was the first exam that was due last year. So I'll fix that up, and so all 4 of these exams will be correctly dated for when they will, and then they're going to pop up on the calendar here, like this this little orange thing is showing you that quiz number 1 should be completed, and it's going to close on Friday, January 17th. Any more questions about this stuff? Anybody? Is that quiz on the first chapter? No, it's not. I think I responded to you, Tabitha. Did you not get my email back to you?
No, I did not.
Okay, that's weird. We can just look at it. You can just say the quiz, and then when you, or maybe I should probably post what's here. So let me go to preview. So then all it's telling you to do is go to this website here and write a paragraph in response that's at least 100 words, and then I'll read through it and give you a grade for it. That's all. So just basically inspecting this website and then talking, then posting 100 words about it. Does anybody have any questions about what's going on Moodle? No? Good. All right. So the last thing we're going to do is talk about this reading for understanding document. So I'm going to stop sharing this. I'm going to start sharing this. Okay. Okay, so the way this works is you're going to be doing some previewing. You're going to be reading headings so you kind of know what to expect. You're going to write down what it is that you're reading. You're going to identify everything that's happening in the chapter as far as graphics or pictures, any ancillary materials there that are trying to support the points of the author, and do a review. So you're going to be writing the chapter, you're going to be writing the main goals of the chapter, you're going to be writing the section titles, and then write questions that you'll think be answered by that sections, and then describe the importance of the chapters and the pictures that are in there. So usually when I do this, I use this if I'm reading like a technical paper and whatnot, and I really want to understand it, then I'll go through this, and depending on how long it is, so your first one is chapter 1 and it's 47 pages. This would probably take me 2 hours to do all that. So this is 8 of these SQ3Rs, and they're a couple of hours a piece, and so expect to be doing that for a couple of hours a week on top of lab and the exams. So this isn't something that you're going to get done quickly, because I really want you to understand what each of these chapters is talking about. So just I'm letting you know to expect this to take up a bunch of your, or not a bunch of your time, but expect this to be involved. And what you're going to get out of this is you're going to remember, like in a year, when somebody asks you about one of the topics like ozone that you're going to find in here, you're going to know what ozone is, and you're going to be able to describe why ozone's bad, why ozone's good, and where ozone comes from. Multiple sources. You will remember that kind of stuff. Okay, that's probably it for the beginning materials. Can somebody tell me why we're in these classes? Like, why are you taking class in general? Why was school mandatory for children in the United States? How about that question?
To ensure a smart and educated future.
I don't hate that answer, but it needs to be more specific. There was one thing going on in the United States that wasn't going on any place else on the planet. Somebody know what that thing was in the beginning of the 1800s?
Just freedom to speak your mind.
Okay. Sure.
Have an educated,
Yeah. Okay.
educated opinion, I guess.
And what? So the person who made truancy a thing. So truancy is that as a kid, at this time, you had to be going to school until you were about 7th grade. That was required by law. So why did, and it's Benjamin Franklin that forced this issue. Why did Benjamin Franklin make all the states make truancy an issue? Like, why did
was it to do with government?
Yep. What really important thing?
And understanding what your government is doing.
Okay. So you can do what?
So you can overthrow tyrannical leaders.
Sure.
Not.
And how do you overthrow a tyrannical leader in the United States?
You know that they're doing bad things because people report them.
But how do we how do we do that? Like, how do we get rid of that?
With an educated society to vote them out.
Vote.
Yeah.
Period. The answer is vote. The reason that you had to go to school was because you had to be able to vote. And they wanted you to go to school until 7th grade, because 7th grade is what newspapers are, 7th grade reading level is what all newspapers are written at. So if you have gone through 7th grade and you can read and write at a 7th grade level, then you can read a newspaper, because that's where all the information was coming from. Obviously, there wasn't an internet then. So you would read a newspaper and you'd read what a political person was doing that you didn't like, or a candidate, somebody who wants to oppose that person or run for office. You would read about that, and then you would make up your decision, make up your mind. So no other children in the world were required to go to school because they didn't have the option to do what? Vote. That's it. You are here because you can vote. There isn't any other real reason. Voting is the reason that school started. And so now basically we've taken it to the next level. So why is it good for somebody to have a class like this chemistry class? Like really specific to right now, this time in history.
With our climate issues right now.
Yeah.
Right. Look at Australia. What's happening
I was
there?
gonna say Australia.
The continent is on fire. The temperatures are higher than they've ever been. The water, there's no rain. It hasn't rained in the longest recorded time period for the country in the spot where the fire is happening. The fires are so hot that they're actually causing lightning and tornadoes. That shouldn't be happening. Fires shouldn't be able to do that kind of stuff. So right now there's a whole bunch of people in the Australian government that say these fires are not caused by climate change. So what is happening to them during the next election?
It's hard to say.
Bye.
People aren't very smart sometimes.
See you later. You're going to get voted out because this is obviously something that we've been doing to ourselves for a long time. And we need to change it before we kill ourselves. I mean, people say save Earth, save the planet. The planet doesn't care about it. The planet doesn't care if Australia is on fire. Earth is going to fly through the solar system for many, many more millions of years. The people should care about it. It's not save Earth, it's save people.
I was also hearing about the brush and the overgrowth too. They weren't able to cut it down because of environmentalists not wanting animals and, you know, insects and whatever to be disrupted if, you know, farmers, whoever cleared their brush. There was just a huge pilings of brush around properties and areas that it just kind of, I guess, kind of in like Paris, Northern California, Paris, California, kind of like what happened there. They didn't clear the brush, so it just kind of went up in flames. I guess that was kind of what was happening in Australia too. Paradise.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff is just misinformation from sources that are trying to say that there's no climate change. And is
I'm
there?
not saying there's no climate change. I'm just trying to understand what was happening there. 'Cause it came from news stories too.
Yeah, but news stories, like just because it came from the news is not a good reason to think that is. I mean, it's sad. I mean, the newspapers used to be very reputable, and now they're not. You don't know who owns those newspapers anymore.
Yeah.
In the late '80s, the United States allowed people from other countries to own news organizations, radio stations, and television stations. Does anybody know what not so great thing happened because of that? A very, very, very rich Australian guy bought a bunch of television stations and turned it into the Fox network.
I was gonna say Robert Ailes.
Well, Rupert Murdoch is the owner,
Right.
and he hired Robert Ailes, who basically started Fox News and all this misinformation stuff. So there wouldn't be a brush issue if there was rain. I mean, it's not a problem. If the brush is dry, it's a problem. If the brush is wet, it's not a problem. This stuff has been around for many, many millennia, and it hasn't caused problems until we've been here for the last 100, 150 years, messing everything up. So this textbook, you're going to learn a lot of stuff about what's going on. I mean, it's not, the book itself isn't new, but the information that's in the book is the same stuff that we've been talking about for more than a decade now, much longer than a decade. And so we're still trying to everybody's still trying to get on board with this is actually a problem. A lot of people understand that it is, but those people don't generally have the power. Does anybody have any idea what the real reason why we wouldn't be hitting this full force? Like, why is everybody not driving a Tesla? Why is everybody
because
not?
of money. Because there's so much money in different corporations that are already have a foothold in our community or our society.
So,
Automobiles, fossil fuels, plastics.
sure. Does anybody know anybody specific who's funding a great deal political campaigns to make sure that climate change isn't talked about or addressed.
Mhm.
It was a pair of brothers, and one of them died last year.
It ain't Pepsi, it's
KOCH, the Koch brothers. They own a fossil fuel organization, and they're just making too much money on doing what they're doing. They're making too much money on people buying SUVs and trucks that get sub 20 miles per gallon, and they don't make any money when somebody buys a Camry hybrid that gets 35 miles to the gallon, or a Nissan Leaf that doesn't use any fossil fuels at all. So they want to stop all that kind of stuff. And
Not everybody can afford Teslas either.
true, but that truck
Yeah,
is
working on it,
the newest Tesla is only 30K. So go and buy a Honda Accord and find out how much that is. A Nissan Leaf is sub 24,000. I mean that they're the amount of money. They used to be prohibitively expensive, but that's not actually the case anymore. And this next year, I mean, did you guys see the Tesla truck thing that came out?
They're so
The one with the really strong glass.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's so funny how some people are like that ridiculously ugly truck, and other people are like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Love automobiles to a T. My kids all about Lamborghinis, and I think those things are
Sure. Well, this next year, Ford is going to release their F-150, and the truck itself doesn't look anything different than the regular truck. Like somebody will drive that, you'll drive past you, and you have no idea that was a Ford truck. What they're going to try to do is sell this truck to work guys so they can take their table saw. Instead of having battery power, they can literally just plug the table saw into their truck battery, and they just have a 110 outlet there, so they can drive to the job site and use it. So we'll see what happens with the trucks. They're a little bit more problematic since sometimes they're towing stuff, and that's a bigger drain on power. But you know, we'll see what happens in the next year or so. Okay. All right. So we know why we're here, and we know what we need to do for grade. And anybody have any questions?
Do you, with your emails, do you respond pretty quickly, like within a day or so?
It's usually like almost immediately, unless I'm like
Okay.
doing something right then and there. I get the emails on my phone, and I just respond right then and there usually.
Okay.
So
Just
you're not going to be
Monday,
waiting
Friday?
for a week for anything from me. If I haven't responded to you in 8 hours, there's probably a reason on my side. Something weird is happening with me.
Do you answer questions on the weekend too, or just the weekday?
I mean, I could be answering your question while standing in line at the grocery store. I mean,
Okay. And that's convenient, I guess, because one of my other professors doesn't answer emails on the weekend, so that's why I'm asking.
yeah, it's an online class. I mean, I don't have to drive to campus. I might as well answer emails while I'm in the line at the grocery store, right?
That's true.
It's awesome.
We appreciate that.
Okay. That is all I have for today. Just intro stuff. And on Wednesday, we'll start talking about stuff that's in the first chapter. We won't. I mean, I'm not going to do a full-on lecture, but we'll do some highlighted topics, and it would be great if you guys could jump in there and start reading it and have questions for me when we meet on Wednesday. Any of you people who haven't talked want to say something in the chat window, or where'd you all go? No? I have too many windows open right now. I can't even find you. Where'd you all go? Oh, there we go. I'm going to take that non-response as a no, and I will say goodnight to everybody. I will upload this video this evening sometime, and all of you who haven't made it can watch it. And then if any of you guys had any questions about syllabus or something, just roll back to like 15 minutes into the video and watch it again. Or just send me an email, whatever. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night.